Oh my God, why am I crying? So I I've heard of human design before, but I like just now really got into it and started looking at my design and what everything means. And I've been working with ChatGPT a lot and like asking it to analyze things for me and explain things for me and tell me how to use, you know, how to apply the knowledge, not just with human design, but with a bunch of stuff. But specifically, I got into human design last night and holy shit, like apparently I'm a manifesting generator, and it was telling me like about the different things and what they mean, and I was talking to ChatGPT, and I was like, "Can you explain this to me?" Like I didn't really get it. Um, and ChatGPT was explaining that I manifest by like I'm not meant to do any one thing. Um, and which makes so much sense because I struggle so hard. Everybody wants you to niche down and pick a niche or pick one career, and I can't do that. Like that is suffocating to me, to think of, sticking to one thing forever. That like really is too difficult for me. But like ChatGPT was explaining with the human design, um like I'm designed to have freedom to pivot from one thing to another. And I just thought it was my ADHD, which could be, but also like I was asking about like what that means about like how I manifest, because I've tried like so many techniques and I feel like it doesn't work. Let's, for example, visualization. Like I can sit and daydream like nobody's business, okay? Like that's what I've been doing my entire life, just sitting and zoning out, daydreaming. And so I was like, why is it that like me, everybody says, oh, you to manifest, you need to visualize, you need to see it, you need to feel it. I can do that, no problem. But it doesn't make things happen for me. And so I was really confused, like, oh, they all say like this is how you manifest, but it doesn't really work most of the time for me. So like what the hell? What gives? I'm great at, visualization and all that. Like my imagination is on fleek. So I can't believe I just said that. Anyways, um, but ChatGPT explained to me that that's not how I manifest by sitting around and visualizing things. That I manifest by my gut feeling, like through my sacral. It's either a hell yes or it's a no, basically. Like, and I don't I wasn't made to make things happen by hustling and forcing and making them happen. And you know what? It's funny because I have noticed in my life that when I force things, when I've worked really, really, really hard for something, it never turns out the way I wanted it. Like if I get that thing, it turns out to, I don't love it. Like it doesn't turn out like how I, wanted it to, and isn't really worth it. Um, so, like in recent years, I've like, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking force anything anymore, because when I do, it's not, what I wanted or how I expected, and it's not worth it, blah, blah, blah. I don't feel aligned when I'm like hustling and grinding too hard or trying to, force things to work out. So I have like noticed that on my own in recent years. Like I need to stop trying to force things. Like if it's too, if it's too difficult, it's probably not meant to be. And that might not be the case for everybody. So please, by all means, like if you have a dream and it's too hard, that doesn't mean you quit and, oh, it's not meant to be. Like I'm not saying that. um it's like simple things. Just for an example, like when I was younger and I chased a guy and I was just like, oh no, it has to be this one, I have to have him. And he was really nonchalant and had shit going on. Like he showed interest and stuff like that, but he wasn't pursuing me. So I pursued the fuck out of him until I got him. And I had a terrible relationship is what I got out of that. Like I just had to have him. And I forced that. I worked really hard to chase him, and make it work out. And it wasn't good. It wasn't ended up not being a good relationship. And it made me realize, like, not to force relationships, but it can be applied to other things as well. Like, for example, recently an opportunity popped up for a bar. There's a bar that I would love to like revive. Um, and I have all kinds of ideas for it. And it's something that I would love to do someday. However, I don't know how to manage a bar, and it's really expensive. And at first I was trying to figure, okay, how can I get funding? How can I do this? Blah, blah, blah. After a while, I realized that it's way too much for me to take on, that there's like, I would drown myself in difficulties if I did this, because I don't, I can't easily get the finances, and I don't know how to manage a bar. So, like, I have all these other ideas for like events and stuff like that, more like management type stuff. But owning a bar and being responsible for, all the stuff that comes with owning a bar, like I don't have like a team of people to help me with that stuff. If I had the money and I had the people, and I could hire people to help me, that would be totally different. But, I had to step back and be like, "Whoa. Like, trying to take this on by myself is just not even smart." But I was stressing, like, how do I make this happen? Like, like the opportunity's right here, like I could get this, blah blah. And then I had to say, "Stop. It's not a good time. I don't have what I need, to be able to do this successfully. So just chill for now. Maybe someday, like." Okay, sorry. I had to go let the dog in. So where was I? So anyways, I have learned the importance of not like trying to force things, because when you have to like for me personally, I don't know about anybody else, we're all different, but I know that when I really grind and work hard and force things, I can make it happen. I can manifest. But then I put all that blood, sweat, and tears and wore myself ragged, and burned through resources and stressed myself out to the max, only to end up with something that I'm not like really in love with anyways. You know what I mean? Like, so I learned that. But then back to the human design, it like ChatGPT was explaining that I manifest through the sacral, that I'm not supposed to, that I personally am not supposed to manifest through sitting around and visualizing, or through forcing and hustling and grinding and stuff like that. And I love that for me. um it was saying that I'm not meant to chase. I'm meant to respond. So I'm meant to just be in my own energy, doing my own thing, and for the right things to come to me. And when it feels right, my gut will be like, fuck yes, and if it's not, I'll be unsure, or it'll be a no. You know what I mean? But I have to learn to listen to my gut, and to listen to what feels like a yes and what feels like a no from my sacral. And so, man, I was enjoying so much learning about this last night, and I was asking ChatGPT, how do I apply this to my life, this and that, like what kind of career would be best for me based on this information. And of course, ChatGPT knows a lot more about me, so it can use all that in conjunction, like what's best for me, like because I've been working with ChatGPT for a while on like like I'm a content creator and trying to get into fashion. I'm trying to do glow ups and transformations and blah blah blah. So ChatGPT like plugs what it knows about me and what I'm trying to do already into these plans. So it did bring up like content creation and blah 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 blah. And social media marketing, like that's something that I'm considering, because based on like the things that ChatGPT was presenting, I was like, social media manager sounds like something that might be up my alley. Um, but anywho, aside from that, um, it was so incredible to learn about this stuff. And I was so like hooked last night, interested, like reading on and asking ChatGPT more questions about my human design and, practical applications. What do I do with that information? And I even asked, like, how do I listen to my sacral? How do I learn to listen to it? Because and that's where we're getting on the conclusion of why I started this video, because I I don't really know how to listen to my gut. Sometimes it's really strong, and I mean, I do have a strong intuition. I always have, but until like recent years, well, I'd say prior to the last 10 years, I completely like ignored it and didn't trust it. And so I have built up my intuition, and I do have a strong intuition, and it does serve me well. And there are times where things scream at me, and I'm like, okay, I know this is a no, or hell yes, I know this is a yes. But most of the time, everything's so subtle that I just don't know, and I don't see the signs for myself, or I don't hear my intuition or my gut feelings, especially my gut feelings. Like, I've worked on my intuition, which comes from here, but I've not been connected with my gut. But get this, physically I've been having issues with my gut and indigestion and stuff like that. And I didn't know until recent years that indigestion can mimic like chest pains and discomfort in your chest and stuff. So I thought I was having heart problems. Found out it was freaking indigestion. I did get, I even went for a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. They even went down my throat. They said everything looks fine. So I'm like, what is going on? But at least I know there's, nothing, serious happening there. But still, like, I've been struggling with this issue still. And also, like, I've been really annoyed that, you know, I've struggled with losing weight, but especially around my belly. Like, even though I've lost weight, like, my belly still, like, just sometimes it even feels worse, even though I've been losing some weight. And I'm like, what the frig is going on? Like, and so I started trying to take really good probiotics. I got some digestive enzymes, and I'm trying all these things, I'm just trying all these things because I feel like it's more than about calories, because I may not have the best diet, but I certainly don't have the worst. Like, I eat healthier than I ever have in my life, but yet I'm the biggest, like, it just doesn't make sense. But anyways, so I've been feeling like there's a block here. Like, I do believe that the physical is tied to the energetic. And so, I'm a spiritual person. So I feel like energetically something's wrong here. Well, I've been single for 10 years, and this is the sacral chakra. You know what I mean? Like, if you know, like, what that's tied to and stuff like that. So, it's had me thinking, is that why? So I started thinking, okay, I'm going to try working from the base chakra up, because I figure if you guys want to learn more about the chakras and color therapy and stuff like this, or human design, let me know. But I decided, like, okay, before I can heal this chakra, I need to work on my root chakra, because that is safety, security, stability, your foundation. And I was like, well, maybe I can't heal my sacral until I heal my foundation. So, and not that I have the worst foundation, but still, like, things have been rocky, I guess. So I started working on my root chakra stuff in hopes that I'll build up to my sacral, which is next. And but so interestingly enough, I'm learning this stuff last night about how I manifest through my sacral and sacral authority, it's called, and that I need to listen to my gut. And then I stopped, I was thinking, I was like, isn't that ironic that I'm trying to work on, my root and sacral chakra, and then I learned this stuff about, like, manifesting from there and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. It just seemed all tied together, So I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. and just interesting how it all connects, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm connecting the dots that are leading me somewhere. So then this morning, I come down and I start thinking about what I learned last night, and I think about connecting to my sacral and how I'm going to try my best throughout the day, every day, to listen and see how my body feels. What does my body want? Is my body saying yes or no? And then I realized, and that this is where I started crying. When I was doing that, like my whole body started tingling. You know how you get chills, like when something like strange or some strange coincidence happen and you're like, oh my god, and you get chills. Like I was getting that, like my whole body was just going brr, brr, buzzing, like with kind of chills, not like warm and fuzzies chills. I don't know how to explain it. But and then I started crying because I realized, like, through all the trauma I've had, I disconnected with my body. And a light bulb went off, because I've heard this before, because I've learned about trauma, psychology, and stuff like that. So I've heard these concepts before, long ago. But here I am right now, just connecting the dots and implementing it, because when you experience trauma, your mind kind of disconnects from your body, and so it's like all this time, you know, my mind has been disconnected from my body, and I haven't been listening to and honoring my body. And so as I was sitting there connecting with my body and talking to it and saying that I'm going to listen from now on, like it was sending, like, shivers, chills, whatever, through me, but warm and fuzzy, not like ugh, it was like warm and fuzzy feeling, like waves coming over me. And I was like, oh my god, my body is literally reacting to what I'm saying to it right now. It's almost like, it's like, oh, about time, welcome home, like it's about time you connected back to me. Like, holy shit, like that's how I was feeling. And I started crying, and then I just had to make this video, because it's just incredible. So I've been on this whole journey, and for 10 plus years, and I'm still very much working through this journey. And I just wanted to share it in case it helps anybody, in case it inspires anybody else. So yeah, that's all I have, and I'll be making more videos to update on how, like, applying this stuff actually works. So we'll see. I'm so excited. I feel like life is about to get juicy. Have a great day.